morning. Today we're on the north shore of Cape Ann, diving in Folly Cove for lobsters. Joining me today is Mr. Chris Edwards. He's a PADI-certified dive master. Dive master being the title given to people who can instruct other people how to dive. And as I said, today we're just going to go out and try to get a few lobsters, see what other wildlife we can see, and give you a basic idea on what you need to start a diving operation, the types of equipment, the places you can go to get certified, the levels of certification, and just sort of the fun, the getting out in the outdoors, doing it with friends. It is a buddy system when you dive, and although it's quite expensive, I think you'll see it to be a really rewarding experience, especially this lobstering deal. You can get out there and actually get some fresh seafood for the family.
I'm Chris Edwards. We're here at Folly Cove, and I'm about to go over some of the basic equipment that we need. We're getting suited up now. Most basic pieces of equipment would be your wetsuit. Absolutely essential in these waters because it's probably around 45 degrees or so. What I've got here is a three-piece wetsuit. It starts with a Farmer John, what they call, with a top jacket. Wraps around with a beaver tail to keep it nice and tight. A hood, definitely essential because most of the heat is lost out of your head. And also these gloves right here, which have 3 fingers to keep your hands just a little bit warmer. The next piece of equipment is the rig right here. The main component being the tank. And this tank holds 80 cubic inches of air, and that's all it is. It's just air. It's compressed air. What we've got on the top here is a first gauge regulator, and what this regulator does is it reduces the pressure of the air inside the canister to the ambient pressure, which is the surrounding pressure, the pressure at which we breathe the air. Once the air comes out of the first gauge, it comes down to your second stage regulator. The second stage regulator allows you to breathe in air and not the water surrounding it. The air comes out simply by sucking through this main hole right here and the exhaust through the sides. If I turn on the air, I'll show you, there's also a purge button on here. In case there are any problems, you can simply purge it. This rig here has 2 second stage regulators. The first one would be your primary. This is one that you would breathe off of normally for your own use. The second one is basically a safety feature, and it's there for tired divers, divers without air, anything like that, because it's better to be safe than sorry in the sport. Also coming off the first stage regulator is a high pressure hose right here. And the high pressure hose does not reduce the pressure of the air coming out of the tank, and it allows you to inflate this device right here called a buoyancy compensating device, commonly referred to as a BC or BCD. And what this is basically an air bladder that allows you to adjust your buoyancy, meaning it lets you float up or sink down depending on how buoyant you are in the water. The last hose coming off of the first stage regulator is for your gauges. I happen to have a computer here, and it's going to tell me several things once it finishes cycling through. The first thing will be your depth. It's a depth gauge, which is very important. You have to keep your eyes on that at all times. The second display will show you the time, meaning the elapsed time that you've been diving. Basically, this starts automatically. As soon as you hit the water, it starts calculating the time. The third item on here is the pressure. And you can see in the tank right now there's about 2,940 pounds of air inside the tank. It's basically full. It holds about 3,000 total. What this computer does is it calculates your residual nitrogen time in your blood. Because when you breathe air, compressed air at depth, you build up nitrogen inside your blood, and you have to gradually breathe that nitrogen off before coming to the surface. The reason for that is, as you ascend, the bubbles will expand inside your blood and lodge in your joints, your elbows, your neck, your spine, and your hips, your knees, and it creates a very painful condition called bends. You've probably heard of it. So what we do is we calculate a time to slowly ascend, and it lets you breathe off that extra residual nitrogen inside your blood so you can surface safely. Some of the other basic pieces of equipment that we're going to use today are a weight belt. We need this weight belt because of the salinity in the seawater in this area. This will help you stay down at the bottom, especially wearing a neoprene wetsuit. It kind of keeps you more buoyant. We're going to use fins and a mesh. A and that's basically all our gear. Another important piece of equipment that we're using today is a dive flag. This flag is recognizable to all boaters in the area, and it's basically for your own protection because nobody wants to get run over by a prop of a boat. This dive isn't just for pleasure today either. We're also diving for lobsters. And in the state of Massachusetts, as a resident, you can apply for a permit. It's $40 per year, and by displaying your permit numbers on your flag and on your tank, you're entitled to take as many lobsters as you can eat, so for personal consumption only. Obviously, being underwater, you can't communicate by talking to your buddy, so what we do is we use a variety of hand signals. One of the most important ones being out of air. And what that means is, I'm out of air and I need air right now. So if your buddy sees this, he'll come over and you can buddy breathe, meaning share a regulator breath for breath. Or if he's an octopus, a second stage octopus, you can breathe off of that until you go to the surface safely. Another signal that we use is time, because it's very important the amount of time you spend on the bottom, and that's simply a motion of checking the watch, time check. Another common way of getting a buddy's attention underwater is by wrapping a metal object such as your tank with your knife, because sound travels extremely well underwater. You can usually get somebody's attention this way. Once you get onto the surface, some of the signals are diver is okay, simply like this. Also on the surface, diver in distress, simply waving the arms or something like this to make visible motion that I need help.
Alright, we're just about ready to head out. This neoprene wetsuit is quite hot, so we are looking forward to getting in this water, although it's cold this time of year. We're 3 weeks into September right now. But hopefully we'll be back in about 45 minutes with some lobsters. We can show you how to measure them, decide if they're large enough to eat, and with some smiles on our faces. See you in a little bit.
We got a few lobsters.
Well, we did alright out there, Chris said. We brought in many. I couldn't show you some of the smaller ones and how to measure them, or we'll possibly look back, but we definitely did get a few pieces. Alright, well, we brought back more than just lobsters to show you some of the things we saw on the bottom. Here's one of the crabs. This is probably a typical size that we see down there. A lot of fun to pick up. We're just going to let them go. But there's plenty of them down there you can take a look at. Well, while Chris is getting some water to put in the cooler, let's pull out a couple of these lobsters and take a look at how we fared. This is one of the larger ones we got, and this is obviously pretty good size. You know, the typical size you see in the grocery store if you're to go buy one. This section of the lobster they call it carapace, and you can buy at any local dive shop a tool like this for measuring carapace length. And you simply measure it by putting it on the inside of the eye socket and then dropping the tool down to see if the length of this carapace is longer than this slot. Now there is a maximum 5-inch carapace that you can take on lobsters in the Gulf of Maine. You can check with your local regulations to see exactly what they are. But a nice lobster, and I think we have at least a couple in here that are keepers. Chris has brought along some rubber bands. We have a full operation.
Keeps us from cannibalizing because lobsters will eat each other if they're kept in captivity. You know.
And here's a smaller one. This one I'm going to guess does not make length. Normally you do this measuring underwater and release them right there when you catch them. We thought we'd bring a couple up just to show you. You can see that this one is short of the 3.5 inch, 3.25 inch length that you need to have for a keeper. So we're going to have to toss them back. We also brought up a couple other specimens. This is a hermit crab. They just take any spare shell they can find. plenty of Indian bottom staring around to take a look at. Also, there's many starfish. Come in all sorts of colors, ranging from browns to purples, and just whole population down there. Just about every rock has several dozen on them. So, just another example, something to look at. Plenty to see when you're here.
Lobster sandwich. Oh yeah. Lobster and pasta. Lobster Creole. Lobster salad. That's about it.
Well, thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you end up getting Scuba certified someday. And if you would like more information on getting certified, please check out these local dive shops here in the North Boston area, Danvers, Gloucester, Route 1, and give them a holler. They'd be glad to train you. They'd be glad to set you up with some of the equipment and give you a lot of free advice on how to start diving or start lobstering, whatever you plan to get into.
Hi, my name is Jay, and I work at a dive store called Cape Ann Divers. We're located in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Great thing about this area is that Cape Ann is an island, so there's always somewhere to go diving. It's probably one of the most dove areas in New England. People come from all over to go diving here. So if it's rough on the south side one day, go to the north side. There's always someplace to go diving. And what we have around here is generally a little bit cooler water. Average temperatures range in the summer from high 40s to about 60s, mid-60s. And we get some incredible water visibility. Anything ranging from average about 20 feet, some days up to 40 feet of visibility. So that's really extraordinary for around here. Things you get to see. We have lobstering is a big industry around here, and if you have a permit, you can go lobster diving. People come back with tons of lobsters, they like that. We get striped bass and beautiful colors that sometimes I don't think you'd expect to see in New England. We also have some pretty famous wrecks around here. Probably the most famous, most dove wreck around here is called the Chester Poling. It's about 100 feet of water, ripped apart in a storm in 1977, and ripped clear in half, and the part we dive on is the stern section. It puts about 100 feet of water, and it's just covered with life, anemones, starfish. Another thing to do around here in the fall is to go dive with the harbor seals. We get a school of about 200 to 300 harbor seals that like to live around here in the fall to winter, so you can go out and go diving with them. We have two boats we own and operate, and we go as far north as Maine. We go as far south as the Cape Cod area to do some diving on wrecks. It's an area you definitely should come to, try it out. It'll be have something for everybody, and I think you'll enjoy it.